So let me start off with, I'll take the first session in geometry today. This has to be one of the easiest areas. There's a clear reason for that, because geometry is nothing but numbers and diagrams. At its lowest level, you can say geometry is nothing but numbers and diagrams. So now, out of the 4 formats which we'll be discussing all the topics, that is diagrams, words, variables, and numbers. Most of you will find this, or if you can understand concepts in diagrams, that's when it will become the easiest, or the effort required from your side will become minimum if you can learn concepts in diagrams. So geometry is all about diagrams anyway. That too, diagrams which are very easy to predict, nowhere close to the level of thinking which we can have. So this is an easy section. It's already an easy section maybe for a lot of you, but it's going to become very, very easy that you'll stop preparing for it very soon. And geometry and all, with full confidence I can tell, please don't practice. There's nothing to practice in geometry, what you are going to. And that too, maybe if you want, I can actually show you the last 50 questions in geometry. If I do that on day 1, I'm very sure you won't attend any more geometry sessions. But that we'll do it only in the end, because first I want you to reach a level where you can start expecting or predicting questions in geometry. And let me also tell you that this is actually, out of numbers, variables and all, this is actually my weakest area. That's when you will find maximum amount of methods, or it was a weak area for me before. But once I understood that it's all about geometry is circle to a line to a circle and everything in between. In one sentence, plane geometry is line to a circle and everything in between. And what we are going to do today is, I'm going to try a slightly different approach in terms of understanding properties, the ones which you have memorized long back, the ones which you think you need to memorize again. So, whatever be the number of properties, you might tell there are 24 properties on circles, 36, 48, depending on which book you have been following, or which institute you've been following. I'll make sure that you'll stop following all of them after this session. So, leave the complete session to me, just sit here, 50% concentration is more than enough. You'll end up learning whether you want it or not. You'll end up learning whether you want it or not, because I'm telling with so much confidence, because it's nothing at our level. 8th standard, 9th standard, 10th standard geometry. Maybe something where we have wasted 60 hours of our time in schools, and maybe another 120 hours at home. And you'll soon realize in 6 hours you'll reach a higher level. So, it's an easy session and an interesting session, because it's all about diagrams. Now what is that you will end up seeing in geometry is line, 3 of them together, 4 of them together, infinite number of them together, right? And maybe somewhere in between you will find hexagons and octagons and etc., etc. But all of them are, the most important thing is these are all diagrams which you can predict. They are not going to ask questions based on diagrams which you cannot write in words. This diagram you can't write in words because you don't know the name. So, and normally the weightage, if you see previous papers, it varies from 10% to 20, 10 to 20% of the questions, right? This is what you normally call geometry. You soon realize that geometry is much more than that and much easier than that. So, why I'm telling like this is because effort required from your side is very minimum. So I'll just take you through first 10-15 minutes, the same old geometry which you have memorized before. Then we'll see why you should not do that now onwards. So, let's start off with, geometry starts with a point. Plane geometry, right? Because I can only do plane geometry on this screen. So as of now, I'll only talk about plane geometry. Whatever I can do on this screen. So it starts with a point. Lot of them together, it's a line, right? You can interpret this as one point becoming many. One point becoming many. It's just a 30-second overview of what we are going to do. Now, lot of lines together. Now, lines again can be expressed using variables or coordinates. 2 points enough to define a line, right? 2 points are enough to define a line. But if you keep on adding lines, you will start getting polygons, triangles, and then further polygons, then further polygons, then further polygons. So that's the last one. Last one being, you can say it's a circle. First one, if we normally take it as a triangle. So triangle to a circle also, it's the same thing. One becoming many. One becoming many. Now, if you just think the other way around, the circle, if you cut the circle, straighten this out, you get a line. So line, in a way, can be taken as a circle with infinite radius, and circle can be taken as a polygon with infinite lines. So this is why, if you actually think about it, circle is a polygon with infinite lines or infinite sides. So if you have a line, if length of this line, if it's fixed, and if you try making triangle or a square or a circle, which one will have maximum area? Using the same line, which one will have maximum area? Circle followed by this, followed by this. So let that be the easiest CAT question which you will ever see. That's an actual CAT question. That's an actual question. Arrange them in the order of their area, where the length of this line is fixed. So more the number of sides, area will be maximum. Now, so let's start off with points, and then lines, and then polygons, up to a circle. This is what we'll cover in. Most of it you will understand today itself. We'll solve a lot more questions going forward in class itself. There won't be nothing much left for practice as such. Without practice, you can start solving them. So, now, about a line. Now, what is a line? A line can be defined by, so more than line, I want you to think at the point level, because that's actually at the lowest level. And that's what is going to make a difference when you solve questions also. Don't learn properties based on circles and lines. Don't learn properties based on circles and points. Then you will solve it faster. So, triangles, we'll look at both the first one and the last one today. Triangles and circles. And in between ones anyway, the methods will work. So, now what is a straight line? Straight line can be defined using just 2 points, right? If you have 2 points, one line is defined. So, 2 points are used to define a line, or you can say the line can also be defined using, if you use the coordinate axis, line can be defined using the slope, right? If you consider tan theta, where theta is with the positive direction of the x-axis, you can define a line. You can, based on that, you can say that lines are either like this or like this. One is where this is with, as in when you move towards right, here the value is increasing, and here it's decreasing. So this is positive, this is negative in terms of slope. Now, lines can also be written, rather than visualizing the line, you can write the line, right? You can write any line. So if I just write 3x plus 2y equal to 6, this means there's a straight line. Now, there's a specific straight line where the 2 points are, like you can write like this also. You divide by 6, you can write it as x by 3 plus y by 2 equal to 1. So I'm starting with straight lines. So this is a straight line, x by 2, y by 3 equal to 1. That is nothing but divide by 6. Now this kind of a line, it means x-intercept is 2, y-intercept is 3. Or in other words, you take x-intercept of, here the x-intercept is 2. So this is the point which I am talking about, where it's 2, and y-intercept is 3. So this is the point which I am talking about. So, and again, we know that once we get 2 points, that means line is defined. So, the meaning of this line in words, now, variables here, you can visualize it in a diagram. If you want to write this in words, that is at a level which all of us can relate to. Now, this line, it means that, suppose, if somebody is at this point, this can be written as falling 3 and moving 2 to the right. That's the meaning of this line. Falling 3, moving 2 to the right. When you drop something, by the time it falls 3 unit distances, it will also move 2 to the right. That's the meaning of this line. This line is defined by that, right? This is actually at a very low level. I'm talking coordinate geometry, but something which you can teach anyone. So if it's the other way around, you can have, like, instead of dropping 3, here it's dropping 3 and moving 2 to the right. You can also have lines where it's the other way around. Climbing 3, moving 2 to the right. That line will be something like this. So, and that's all from, you can directly write that from here, right? You can write it from here. If you see something like this, it means falling 3 and moving 2 to the right. So that's the meaning of this line. Now, so straight lines, obviously, we look at this in coordinate geometry also, we'll have a short session. Now, coordinate geometry is not different, right? You define by using coordinates, using both the coordinate axes. That's coordinate geometry. There's nothing different over there. Geometry in a different format is coordinate geometry, right? All of you know that. So, even if you don't know anything, there's nothing to worry, because what we have done is anyway, mostly you will consider raised very soon in schools or colleges, whatever you did before. Whether you are from an IIT or whether you are from a non-math background, you'll learn how to learn better. That's what you are going to do. You're not learning anything, you'll learn how to learn better. That's the only thing which I'll do. So the straight lines, if you take a lot of them together, you'll start getting polygons. So 3 of them will define, 3 points will define a triangle, right? 3 points will define a triangle. Infinite number of them, if you put them together, that's a circle, which can be defined by this center and this distance, right? Center and this distance. Because by moving this point with the same distance, that's a circle. You can define it by using this word also. What are the properties, the important ones which you need to understand if your aim is just to solve questions? Then that makes it very, very easy. But we'll anyway look at it from an overall point of view. So, in a triangle, and this part some of you might find boring because you have seen this enough times. There are different possible, you can define lines and points based on, now, again, I don't want you to note down, all these things are there in all the books and including the material which we are giving it to you. If you think you need to go through, please go through, 5-10 minutes, that's enough. Altitudes, medians, perpendicular bisectors, and angle bisectors. These are different lines in a triangle. If you are familiar with these names, it will help you to solve questions based on these lines. If you are not familiar, you'll have to leave it faster than everyone else. So, point of intersection of altitudes is what we call orthos. All of you know this, it's just revision of high school geometry. Medians is centroid. Point of intersection of perpendicular bisectors is circumcenter. Point of intersection of angle bisectors is incenter. Now, it's not that you will get a lot of direct questions based on all these terms, but you can always get questions based on find the in radius of a particular triangle. Find the in radius of a right angle triangle. So, point of intersection of altitudes is orthocenter, medians is centroid, perpendicular bisectors is circumcenter, angle bisectors is incenter. Now, all these things are almost self-explanatory, what all these things mean. So, what happens is, in a triangle, the line which will divide the opposite, this is the median because these two are equal. Now, this is the altitude, that is a perpendicular dropped from this vertex. This is an altitude. Perpendicular bisector is at the midpoint, if you drop a perpendicular, that's the perpendicular bisector. And this is an angle bisector. So, point of intersection is all these points. Apart from that, different methods of finding the area. What are the different area in variables? You can write it as, again, all of you know these things, half BH or root of S into S minus A, S minus B, S minus C, where S is the semi-perimeter, where ABC are the 3 sides, or it can be, if circumradius, if it's given directly, then it's ABC by 4R, where this R is the circumradius, or you can also write R into S, where this R is the in radius. Circumradius, in radius. Again, there are so many other ways of finding the area based on some special triangles and all. We'll look at them while solving questions. All of you know that also. So, basic things I'm just taking you through. Now, in a circle or equilateral triangle, what happens is, now that's a special case where all sides are equal. So, what will happen is all these four lines will be the same. Now, this particular line will be the angle bisector, will be the perpendicular bisector, will be the centroid, will be the median as well as the altitude. So, in an equilateral triangle, this point will be orthocenter, centroid, circumcenter and incenter, all of them. Now, one more important ratio here, which again, it's just revision, is centroid will divide median in the ratio 2:1. Centroid will divide median in the ratio 2:1. So, this is the circumradius, and this is the inradius. So, circumradius to inradius ratio, these are points which you can keep in mind. Circumradius to inradius ratio will be 2:1 in an equilateral triangle. So, that is circumradius, if it's 2/3 of the height, as you can see, it's 2/3 of the height. Inradius will be 1/3 of the height. Height anyway will be √3/2a, and area will be √3/4a square. Height will be √3/2a, where a is the side, and area will be √3/4a square. This is an equilateral triangle where all sides are equal. Now, in a right angle triangle, that's again one more special triangle. In a right angle triangle, two important ratios from problem solving point of view. In a right angle triangle, in a 45-45-90 triangle, sides will be in the ratio 1:1:√2. In a 30-60-90 triangle, sides will be in the ratio 1:3:2. So, two important right angle triangles which you will end up using in almost every other question. So, 1:1:√2 and 1:3:2. That's opposite 30 it's 1, opposite 60 it's √3, opposite 90 it's 2. And here it's 1, 1 and √2. So, plus right angle triangles are the ones which we normally express using variables as x square plus y square equal to z square. And in a right angle triangle, what will happen is, if you consider in a right angle triangle, this is the circumcircle. Circumradius, as you can see here in this diagram, that will be half of the hypotenuse. In a right angle triangle, circumradius will be half of the hypotenuse. Because circumcircle is nothing but which will pass through all the 3 points. And this is nothing but the circumradius, which is half of the hypotenuse. Okay, now basic properties on circles, if you consider, I'm only discussing basic properties now because everything else you can connect and learn. So, properties on circles, if you want to start numbering it and start learning, then you can start doing this. If AB is the diameter, now this is anyway based on a triangle only, there is nothing but a right angle triangle. This will be a right angle triangle when AB is the diameter. This will be 90. Now, second one is here, when you consider 4 points on the circle, that is ADBC is a cyclic quadrilateral. Over the sum of these two, D plus C equal to 180, and this is called cyclic quadrilateral because all 4 are on the circle. All the 4 points are on the circle. I'm just taking you through the basic properties. Now the third one is instead of diameter, if you consider the secant over here, now if you drop a perpendicular, that is again we are talking about right angle triangles here, both are right angle triangles here. So if this is a perpendicular, then it will get bisected at this particular point. That is, AM will be equal to MB. You don't need to write, you can visualize that anyway in the diagram. Now the fourth one can be almost similar. You take CD on the other side and drop a perpendicular. In that case, if OM equal to ON, that is, if these two lines are equal, that implies AB equal to CD. This AB and CD, they will be equidistant from this. If it's equidistant, then AB will be equal to CD. That's the fourth one. And these are all interrelated. Now, next you drop this line further down, then this AB will become a tangent. So this is another right angle triangle. We are talking about a lot of right angle triangles in circles. So this is tangent perpendicularity theorem. This line is called a tangent because it's just touching the circle at one point. This is the radius, and together it will be a right angle triangle. That's 5. Now sixth one is from an external point, if you drop two tangents, they'll be equal. That's the next one. From an external tangent, if you drop 2 points, they'll be equal. Now these are, now how we'll end up using this is basically you have a circle. These are all very basic properties, but you can always make good questions out of this. You have a point outside the circle, you drop two tangents, combine with two radii, this will become a quadrilateral called kite because these two lines are equal, these two lines are equal. When adjacent sides are equal, it's called a kite. When all sides are equal, and when it's 90, that's called a square. Otherwise, it's a rhombus. So quadrilaterals anyway we'll discuss. So in a kite, what will happen is, again if you join the points, important points here, this is called a diagonal. That will be an angle bisector as well as a perpendicular bisector of the other diagonal. So sixth one is external tangents drop from an external point, they are always equal. Combined with radii, you will get a kite. Diagonals are angle bisectors as well as perpendicular bisectors of the other diagonal. So once you make questions out of this, it will look difficult. It will never become difficult. It will look difficult. So we'll anyway solve questions based on that. Now these are two external tangents. If you just extend on all the sides, if I take 3 points outside the circle, you should not just see it as a circle in a triangle. You should also take it as a circle and 3 points outside, using which you can say that these two are equal, these two are equal, and these two are equal. And finally, if you join it with the sender, you are getting 3 kites in the diagram. So you can make more questions out of this diagram. So these are all very basic properties, but you can expect good questions out of this. So finally what you are getting here is, these two are equal, right? These two are equal, and these two are equal. Because these are all 3 kites over here, and they are all diagonals and also angle bisectors and perpendicular bisectors of the other diagonal also. So that is why if I just write one number here, if I write 30 here, you can immediately write everything else. 90 here, 90 here, and the remaining of 360 here. 30 here, 90 and 90. So 180 and 30 is 210. So this will be 150. If that is 150, this will be 210. If that is 210, this will be 105. So that's a difficult question. This is how you get, this is what you call solving a question, right? This is a difficult question. Finding this 105 is, I'll say, relatively difficult because all the others, most of the others are much easier than this. So this 105, why is it 105? Because together it's 210, and we know that if this is x, this will be x, and if this is y, this will be y. Remaining is 2x plus 2y. So the required angle here is 105. We just solved a good question. But these are things which you can, they're all based on very basic properties. It's about how you actually understand this diagram. At this level, if you look at this diagram, it becomes easy. This is the diagram. You should just look at this question as circle and 3 points outside. And think of every possible scenario. You'll start expecting and predicting questions which people can't even, they can't even dream of. Whoever is making a paper. Because they don't think that much while making the paper. They just copy from previous paper somewhere here and there and all, mix and match. That's your paper. They're making not 20 questions like before. Making some 800 questions. Nobody puts that much effort. So I always tell. You can see that, all papers. You see the question, you can start marking the answer. Have you seen this year's JEE main paper? You can simply tick the answers if you're using common sense. Common sense, not if you're practicing 8 hours every day for 2.5, 3 years to prepare for an exam which is only 2 hours. And shut out every possible capability of what you can do and what you can think. If you want, I can discuss that. It will be a real confidence booster. Without preparing, you can solve all of them, almost all of them. Without preparing, because I know you have the basic stuff. Basic prerequisite is already there, otherwise you won't be sitting here. So, that's much more predictable. The JEE main papers are much more predictable than CAT. CAT is what people call the most unpredictable paper in the world. Even though I'll show you the actual CAT questions later, not now. So, now let's, just that you need to, we don't do that, right? Now, how do you make a question? That will be your next, right? How do you make a question? Questions are made by, knowingly or unknowingly, you will take, if you are expecting a circle question, you will put a circle and you will put points. In and around, inside, outside, on the circle. Then, normally what happens is, unnecessarily they'll join all the points. But if you, then you'll only look at lines. If you look at only lines, you will get confused which one to use. But if you take out all the lines, solving a question is nothing but, there are only two things. Either take the lines which are already there, assume that it's not there, or if it is not there, make sure that it's there. This is what you call solving angle-based questions. It's only this much. I can show that in every question. This is solving at the lowest level. If a lot of lines are joined unnecessarily, you just need to assume that it's not there. You'll end up solving faster. If it is not joined, join them, you'll start solving them faster. So we'll learn at this level by using points and circles when you're learning circles. So, because these points will be defined in the question. Defined means they'll start naming them A, B, C, D. If it is not named, if it is any point, you can do whatever you want. You can take any point. So first you understand it's much easier than what we have done before. That's the first step. Then we'll start looking at, we'll start breaking the question at its lowest level. So if you see something like, okay, property number 6, 7th one, this is what we have done before. Like we have numbered it and we have memorized it. Now next property is, and this is very important. If I show you this, you have a circle and 4 points outside. And if I just join all these things together, you know that what is important is you also take it as 4 points here, so that you will take it as 8 tangents from 4 points. And once you take it that way, just don't see the whole diagram, right? We either do it see it at a macro level or at a micro level. Try looking at both, you'll end up solving. So 4 points here. So we know that now if I write 6 here, 4 here, 7 here, and if this is a question, this is a supposedly difficult CAT question. That is, 6 plus 4 equal to 7 plus what is a difficult CAT question. I'll show this question is there in the sheet, but it's a difficult question. Now you'll tell me it's very easy, but if I had given the question otherwise, you would have taken time thinking about things which was never required. So 6 plus 4 equal to 7 plus what is an actual CAT question. And a difficult one. That's the worst part. It's a difficult one. Now, why is it like that? Because we know that these two are equal. You are looking at opposite sides here, right? When you take 6 and 4, and when you take 7 here, and 7 plus 3, it should match. Why? Because if I write x here, the other x is in the opposite pair. You take sum of opposite sides, they'll be equal in a diagram like this. Those who have memorized this as a property, you will solve it immediately. Others will take a lot of time. So, if this is y, this is y. And if this is z, this is z. If this is w, this is w. So what is sum of opposite sides here? X plus y plus z plus w. You can see it here, right? X, y, z, w. It's the same thing here, x, y, z, w. So a question like 6 here, 4 here, 7 here will be 3 here. This is the same property, right? It's a very basic property, but it's a difficult question, supposedly. So when you are learning this property, you should just learn this as something based on circle and 1 point outside, or circle and 3 points outside, or circle and 4 points outside, and think of joining them. And then finally you will get a quadrilateral. You'll get a quadrilateral if you take something like this, where we know that x plus y here will be x plus y here. So okay, so now next one, 7th one, next important property. Now, so external points, right? Now let's look at, this is something which again all of you know. These two are equal because this is fixed. That's called a minor arc. And there is nothing but the angle inscribed in the same arc. These two are equal, right? These two are anyway equal because it's the same arc. Now, these three are equal, right? Wherever you take, they are equal. 8th one is, now how they are related with, if you join with the sender, this and this ratio is 2/1. Again, all of you know, these are frequently used while solving especially angle-based questions. This is 2/1, that's 8. Ratio of 2/1 between, this 2 is called measure of the arc, and this 1 is called angle inscribed in the arc, where the arc in question is this. So measure of the arc and inscribed arc, measure of the arc and inscribed angle, 2:1. Ratio is always 2:1, 2 theta and theta. Now, 9th one is where again almost similar. Now this line is called secant. So this is nothing but inscribed angle in this arc. That will be equal to angle between the tangent at that point. So these two are equal. This is 1, this will be 1. This is theta, this will be theta. It's called secant tangent theorem or tangent secant theorem. You can call whatever you want. So now you can keep on adding this. This might make you happy thinking that I am learning a lot of theorems. But you'll do it much faster when this is one approach, right? You can memorize a lot more. It's not stopping, right? You can, everything, this also you can call it a property and memorize. AB plus CD equal to BC plus AD. They're all properties. You can add it, make it up to 20, 30, 25, 30 like that. But the fact is, these are all properties which are all very closely related. At its lowest level, if you take, you might find it very easy to solve, all of them. You take a circle, and there are different ways of looking at this. One, you can use circles and lines to learn these properties. This is one approach, circles and lines. Another approach is, today let me try circles and points approach. You can think at both the levels. Circles and lines, when you think about it, you are talking about circles and there are only 3 types of lines, right? One which will cut the circle at 2 points, one which will cut the circle at 1 point, the one which won't cut the circle at all. There's nothing else, right? There are only 3 types of lines. This is called a tangent, secant. This is just line outside the circle. So, where the point of intersection is not real. That's what you call, right? They're not real. So, if you are using just a line and a circle, how all of them can be related is, see, more than before solving questions, I want you to think in all the directions. You start with, and this is same as, suppose if you take This intercept, when it's 0, that's when it's called a tangent, because there will be just one point of intersection. When there are 2 points of intersection, it's called a secant. And this AB, when it's taking its maximum length, it's called a diameter. So diameter is just a special case of a secant, right? The longest secant is nothing but the diameter. Longest possible secant is the diameter.